In 1896, Henry Ford built the Ford quadricycle runabout in his first attempt to create an automobile that could run on gasoline. Fast forward 10 years, and the Ford automobile industry produced cars one after another. The invention of the automobile was a huge turning point in American history. Suddenly, the world became much smaller, as this new mode of transport made traveling much quicker and more efficient. Everyone in America wanted the automobile for themselves. Fast forward again. We're now in the 21st century. Many of the things we worry about now, as a society, weren't even discovered when the first automobile was invented in America. One of those issues that are the topic of many conversations today is global warming. And as it turns out, the automobile is one of the leading causes of global warming. The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA for short, found that, in 2019, automotive transportation was the most prevalent contributor to U.S. greenhouse gas emissions, accounting for 29% of all U.S. emissions. Similar statistics have been trending in the last few decades and have inspired people to find ways to recreate the same power of transportation without heavy pollutants such as fossil fuels. For many people, the answer to this question seems to be electric cars. Many different laws and mandates have been made to enhance the production of these cars, such as tax write offs for Tesla owners or vehicle discounts on account of being environmentally friendly. This was all done based on the idea that this was the best solution. However, do we really know for sure? How much of the Earth's future have we placed in the hands of the electric car, when in fact, there are reasons to show that this may not be the answer? There is a lack of statistics to fully support the actions that have been taken for the future. So now, the question we are left asking ourselves is this. How did the idea of mass producing electric cars become such a singular and trusted solution to global warming? And what are other potential solutions to the problem that involves us all? My fellow speaker Brooks can give more background on this complicated matter and how it arose.
Let's bring it back to the beginning now. Greenhouse gases in the atmosphere were relatively low before the Industrial Revolution, but the air quality would soon decrease dramatically as car use and fossil fuel consumption increased. Looking back, it's clear that there is an inverse relationship between automobile popularity and air quality, yet this was not realized and nothing was done. In the years after World War II, automobile production and use skyrocketed, which only intensified the spread of air pollution. Consequently, the new cars only added more and newer sources of pollutants, causing an immediate threat to major cities. It was not until the 1950s when air pollution and cars were first linked. A California scientist hypothesized that pollutants from traffic were to blame for the smoggy skies over Los Angeles. Despite damaged crops and increased incidence of respiratory-related incidents on especially smoggy days, nothing was done at the time. Although greenhouse gas policies and regulations have since been passed, carbon dioxide emissions have only continued to grow, and the EPA found that the average passenger vehicle emits about 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. Maybe policy was not what needed changing, rather the cars themselves. In the 1990s, a greater environmental concern helped drive the popularity of electric cars forward and has shaped the world of electrical vehicles that we see today. The passage of the Clean Air Amendment and the 1992 Energy Policy Act helped to renew scientific interest in electric vehicles. While a booming economy and low gas prices at the time deterred consumer interest in such cars, automobile engineers supported by the Energy Department saw a future demand for electric vehicles and consequently worked to improve the technology. The first turning point is largely due to the introduction of the Toyota Prius in 1997, which was the first mass-produced hybrid car. Rising gasoline prices and an increased awareness of carbon pollution made this line of cars wildly successful. The introduction of Tesla's luxury electric vehicles has given the reputation of electric cars a sleeker appeal, and the demand for electric vehicles has grown ever since. Each day, the technology in electric cars is improving, and the cars have become more affordable and efficient. Today, consumers have more choices in electric vehicles than ever before. There are dozens of plug-in electric and hybrid models available in a variety of shapes and sizes to fit the consumer's needs. It's difficult to predict the future of electric cars, but we know that the technology will continue to improve, and incentive policies will further increase their popularity. But are they really the solution? Are we supporting a lost cause?
Thank you, Brooks. The main reason we can't consider electric cars to be the solution at this time is actually because of the structure of the power grid. The folly of the public in assuming that electrical cars will be the end all be all solution to pollution is that electricity has to come from somewhere. The US currently runs on a power grid fueled by coal and gasoline, the fossil fuels already prevalent in the automobile industry. In essence, electrical vehicles, the very vehicles that set out to abolish these fossil fuels, rely on the very same ones to charge. There's a certain hypocrisy in this, that is, unless clean energy can come from somewhere else. The only way we see to viably do this would be to use existing infrastructure of nuclear power plants throughout the United States and to invest money in researching a route to clean power. However, only a few dozen nuclear power plants exist across the United States, and the technology is largely deemed to be underdeveloped. Between the development of nuclear warfare and major nuclear reactor incidents, nuclear energy has since been a touchy subject. While Chernobyl was a catastrophe, any power plants that were abandoned afterwards only lead to the possibility of another accident, as they're under-researched and they're left with 1950s levels of development. The problem with electrical vehicles is that it is pretty much all smoke and mirrors, at least for now. Unless we can develop a way to use clean energy to fuel our electric cars, they will forever be a lost cause, and an industry-wide form of greenwashing. A corporate pat on the back that gives the appearance of change when in reality, it's the same old fossil fuels that have been used since the dawn of Henry Ford's quadricycle.